let's talk about what we're seeing. The NSC up 30 points, at least trading in the positive. The shilling looking a bit stronger. We're effectively at the end of the second quarter. What does this mean going forward?
Well, it means for many players, they're able to kind of go back to the drawing board and kind of clean up their books. So the past day or two, we've not really seen too much activity on the NSC, and that coupled with the central bank move last evening of raising the overnight borrowing rate, we haven't seen too much interest, and the shilling has firmed up in a positive response to the central bank move. So all in all, in the market today was a relatively calm day, though we saw some good moves on Kenyan, some interest in Uchumi continuing, and also in Kabasid.
Okay, before we talk about what's happened on the equity side, let's talk about attempts to stabilize the shilling, because it is looking a lot better than we've seen it in recent weeks. Obviously, one of the steps taken was raising the overnight lending rate to 8% by the central bank. The CBK has been active in the market, mopping up excess liquidity, and there are reports that the IMF's given the CBK, or generally Kenyan authorities, a little bit of a buffer by the tune of 6 billion Kenyan shillings to try to curb currency volatility. All these measures collectively, will they work?
I think they will. Yes, I think, Lerato, that they will. One of the reasons why the shilling has been sliding tremendously over the past month or so is because of some of the donor conditions. One of them has been to increase the central bank's holding of foreign currency to a level enough to cushion about 4 months import. And now that the IMF is giving us, the central bank here, the green light that we're off to a good start, we think that the shilling will really continue firming up. And it being also the end of the government year, we really think that the next year come tomorrow, that things will be really looking much better than they have been. That aside, the central bank really also has been making quite some significant moves. We saw them last week come out and give the market quite a pep talk about the sliding shilling, and yesterday they came in with that increase in the interest rate, overnight borrowing rate. So in the words of Harry Truman, they really have kept speaking softly and carrying the big stick.
Your views on the quarterly review of the economy, do those figures showing modest growth in the second quarter, are they truly reflective of the situation on the ground? We do know that one of the reasons the shilling's been so weak is because of unbridled inflation in the country.
The inflation figures really are absolutely an issue of concern. What came out today from the Central Bureau of Statistics was actually a Q1 review of the GDP performance, where they say that it grew by 4.9%. But over the Q2, I think that those gains may have been eroded largely due to inflation fears. And I honestly, at this point, would not be in a particular of a particular way, one way or the other, because many times the statistical issues really are not at par with what we are seeing on the ground. So we think that the Q2 has been very rough, but we hope that all in all, that the first half of the year has been positive.
Okay, let's go to those equities you wanted to refer to, some of the good performers today. Unga, Kabasid, Uchumi, why is that?
On Unga and Kabasid, not particularly too much information out there, though Unga is one of the big beneficiaries from the budget that was read out earlier in the month, and we expect that the millers really will benefit from the budget reading in terms of being able to bring in some maize from overseas. And also additionally, one of the news items out is that the GM maize, that is genetically modified foods, now are going to be allowed by the government, though it's not yet absolutely confirmed. So that really should enable a player such as Unga to get out there the raw materials at a far better cost than they have been getting them locally. Absolutely good news for Unga. Kabasid, not too much information about it on this day. But Uchumi, we're just seeing a general trend of the market really just stabilizing on that stock. It was up about 35 cents today.
Now, we know that Britak's planning an IPO later in the year, so effectively what we've seen is an auctioning of shares, and so far the market response is fantastic because some of the majority shareholders apparently have now been pushed into the rich league. So what more after the IPO?
Well, one of the big things we're waiting to see out in the information memorandum of Britak is the actual split of British American. Remember, it's a big conglomerate, and we really want to see what exactly is in the Kenyan portfolio. So we'd like to see how different that is from, say, the Mauritius and, say, from the Ugandan and also from the London holding company. So that's a big issue to see for all investors, though we're really, really bullish about this. We're always happy when we see new listings. And of late, the big field has been the non-bank financials. We've seen British American come in, and we're also expecting TransCentury very soon. So on that, the big shareholders there, it's looking pretty positive.